In the last episode, we explored how trade and trust unraveled between the world's two biggest economies. Now we enter the next phase, the technology war, where the battlefield isn't fought with tanks or tariffs, but with microchips, algorithms, and data. These silicon wafers now decide who leads the 21st century. Every smartphone, missile, electric vehicle, and AI model relies on one component, the semiconductor. Once invisible to the public, these chips are now symbols of national strength. Control the chips, and you control the future. By 2025, just 3 companies, TSMC, Samsung, and Intel, fabricate the world's most advanced chips, while only a handful of firms, like ASML in the Netherlands, make the extreme ultraviolet machines needed to produce them. This fragile chain became the front line of the US-China rivalry. B-roll Washington briefings, Chinese tech parks. Stock tickers. The clash began quietly, as China's tech giants, Huawei, SMIC, Tencent, ByteDance, rose. Washington feared their reach into 5G, AI, and cloud infrastructure. In 2019, the Huawei ban became the first major salvo. US firms were prohibited from selling critical chips and software without a license. Beijing called it containment. Washington called it security. Either way, the tech world changed overnight. By 2022, the US Chips and Science Act injected billions into domestic manufacturing, while export controls tightened to choke China's access to the latest AI processors from firms like Nvidia and AMD. The real battle isn't just over products but process nodes, the microscopic scale at which chips are made. While China's SMIC produces chips at 7 nanometers, the US and its allies lead at 3 and 2 nanometers. Each step smaller multiplies computing power, vital for AI defense and quantum research. In late 2024, new US rules extended export bans to cover advanced chip design software and lithography tools. Even TSMC and ASML had to comply, blocking their Chinese clients from next-gen production. It's not just sanctions, it's supply chain geopolitics, where access to machines defines global influence. Cut off from Western tools, China doubled down. State funds poured billions into Made in China 2025 and new semiconductor parks. In 2024, Huawei unveiled the Kirin 900S made with domestically developed technology, proof that China could innovate under pressure. But progress is uneven. Without EUV machines, Chinese fabs still face efficiency limits. So Beijing turned outward, investing in Middle East foundries, partnering with Russia, and stockpiling chip-making materials ahead of further bans. Analysts describe this as technological decoupling in slow motion. If semiconductors are the weapons, AI is the strategy. The US leads in foundational models like GPT-4, Gemini, and Claude, trained on immense datasets using chips from Nvidia's A100 and H100 lines. China's Baidu ErnieBot, Alibaba Tianji Qianwen, and iFlyTech Spark compete under tighter hardware limits. By 2025, AI isn't just about apps, it drives military simulations, financial forecasting, and energy grids. That's why Washington treats AI chips as dual-use technology, subject to strict export licensing. In response, China has invested in homegrown GPU startups and national data centers, seeking to narrow the gap by 2027. Beyond chips and AI lies the infrastructure war. 5G networks define who controls global data routes. The US promotes Open RAN alternatives to reduce reliance on Huawei hardware, while China expands its Belt and Road digital corridor. Meanwhile, both nations race for quantum computing breakthroughs that could someday break current encryption. In 2025, US and Chinese labs each claimed record-setting qubit stability, proof that the frontier of tech power keeps shifting. This digital struggle extends to standards, satellites, and undersea cables, invisible highways of global connectivity. The tech war isn't bilateral anymore, it's building blocks. The US rallied allies through the Chip 4 alliance, Japan, South Korea, and Taiwan to coordinate supply chain resilience. Europe aligned via its own EU Chips Act, balancing economic interests with security concerns. China countered through BRICS partnerships and Belt and Road tech zones. This global reordering creates new trade patterns where technology standards define political alignment. The world's silicon map now mirrors its power map. For businesses, duplication raises costs. For startups, export restrictions limit collaboration. Even researchers feel the chill as cross-border scientific exchange slows. Yet competition also sparks innovation. Nations are funding new education programs, fab construction, and R&D incentives unseen since the Cold War. The semiconductor and technology war is about far more than gadgets. It's about who sets the rules of tomorrow's economy and whose values power the algorithms that shape daily life. Both the US and China are racing to ensure their code, their chips, and their standards define the future. The outcome will decide not just market share but the architecture of global power for decades to come. If you found this episode insightful, stay tuned. Next, we explore the energy front, the race for green power and strategic independence. Thanks for watching.